this is all good. Audio up a bit. Right, is audio coming through all good? Audio is not included. Okay, there we go. Ooh, this ain't good. I've got no game audio. Okay. Why have I got no game audio? Why have I got all these issues now? Where the fuck is audio? There we go. Oh, we have virtual safety car. Perfect. I think I finally got this sorted and I should be able to hear you as well.
Yeah, I've flipped me tick.
That's good. Okay, good. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Can you just do me a quick favour and do an intro for me? I just need to do something real quick.
yeah, no problem, mate. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry about the late start from ourselves, the little gremlins in the setup that we had. But anyway, we have got virtual safety car. That was all due to your pole sitter XPG Fishy. Welcome, by the way, XPG Fishy to Papa Champs. Yeah, it set the fastest lap in qualifying, and unfortunately, a little bit of a moment. A couple of cars have just come in the pits after the virtual safety car, and your race leader now is Dan Davis. Dan is currently
Right, I'm now back.
he's back.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, everyone. I just had a little bit of an issue with setup. Twitch and Xbox is a pain. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway.
And I'm going to echo your comments. It's a pain. Just
yes.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Dan Davis.
While we were Dan Davis, yes. I'm gonna guess he was the one that got pole position because obviously I have no idea who was the one who got it.
Yeah, Fishy got the pole. Unfortunately, had a bit of a moment because of the virtual safety car. So
okay,
Scott's just done the 114.6 the fastest lap. Sorry, Sam.
Indeed. So, as I said, while we're just watching the battle here, if you just give us a quick rundown of how quali went, because obviously stream wouldn't have seen that because, well,
yeah, we had XPG Fishy in pole with a 104.1. Then there was Scott with a 104.2, and Dan Davis was third with a 104.5. I only made a note of the top three, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. Unfortunately, you will never see that one-shot qualifying because it wouldn't have been on the stream at all. We literally just started while we were doing a little bit of talking there, because I was going, Jamie, we were doing a little battling through turn 2. I'll call that turn 2, not turn 3, because that doesn't count as a turn for me.
Not a turn. But interesting that we had a dry quali. We've got rain now. I believe it's drying out later on. I don't know, so
that could be
not 100% sure it's going to drive out, but we'll see.
I wonder how many people have gone for dry setups in these conditions potentially.
There's a thing, yeah. Depends, I suppose, whether they know how long this wet weather's going to last for. I don't know, but I don't know. But yeah, Dan Davis not getting away from Scott as easily as he might have thought, but there is a little bit of a gap between Scott and Bobby Coote.
While you're saying that, Jamie's once again got past Gizlesgo, and Gizlesgo's got a better drive out of the corner again, but this time Jamie has held the line. Unlike last time, Gizlesgo managed to get the better line coming out of the corner and has retaken 4th place.
I was a bit surprised at Jamie's qualifying. Actually, I think he only qualified 10th, I think, but he's certainly moved up the pack now up to P4.
Oh, good. Cal and Kirby almost side by side there for a second. I've just caught the end of that. Kirby's got past in the. I think he's trying to go for the BWT livery type thing there. That's at least what I think he's going for. But while that's been going on, and obviously anyone that was out of position from qualifying, from what you thought, apart from, let's say, Jamie, obviously down a little bit down the field.
Yeah, there was Jamie and Angelo. Angelo, I thought he'd be a bit further up. Angelo, I think he had a bit of a spin, but he was down the bottom. Jack Carroll, he had a good quali, but he's down the pack a bit. I think he's come and made a mistake. But usual, I would say the new driver, Fishy, he took pole. He's not one I've heard of, but like I say, I welcome him to Path for Champs. But Dan Davis, who's winning quali, and he's setting the pace tonight, pulling a little bit away from Scott actually now as we speak.
Indeed. I believe these conditions pose a little bit more of a challenge to the actual to the drivers more so than usual, because it's a very small track. Obviously, normally the lap times would be in about the mid 1 minute 6s, 1 minute 7s in the dry. Obviously, we're a little bit down on those times, obviously being in the wet. But how many of these drivers, as we were saying, how many do we reckon went for wet setups and how many went for dry setups? Because it already looks like the rain is coming, sort of slowing down just a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely not as heavy as it was. I don't know what information the drivers got. I mean, if anything, 50% dry, 50% wet, I'd have set up dry. So, personally, I'd have done a dry setup. But I don't know what information the drivers have had, so I wouldn't know, Sam, mate, to be honest. But I would have set a dry
Kirby's
setup.
run wide, just while you're mentioning that. And I think they're going to be side by side. Cal's then made a mistake, and then he's went off into the barrier himself. Cal. And I think Cal, no, he's kept it going. He's going to lose a couple of positions here. He's got to be careful on his rejoin here. Obviously, no momentum for Cal there. I believe he must have hit a wet patch there, and the car's not really wanted to play ball there with him.
No, it's we
do have a caution just ahead.
That's
Jamie.
Jamie's had a bit of a spin there.
Oh, he's no front wing. He's no front wing on that car. I have not seen what's happened to Jamie, but he was near Kozlezko, so something's happened there in between himself and potentially Kozlezko. I'm not entirely sure either that, or the curbs have done the typical F1 thing, and there's the safety car. So that then completely neutralises everything and brings everyone back together again. But
perhaps a good thing for Jamie. I know he's had a spin in that, but it's done him a bit of a favour, this the actual safety car has. And we only see Jamie's the only one that's come in the pits. Oh no, Cal's in pits now, obviously.
Yeah, I think Cal had damage as well.
Yeah.
But obviously, with the conditions as they are at the moment, when do we reckon that they're going to gamble potentially on a new set, or potentially a set of the slicks? When do we reckon?
As like I say, it's a drizzle now, and it doesn't actually look like it's full rain. Yeah, just looking at the forest in the background there, you couldn't see it for the mist. But I'll stick my neck out and say perhaps lap 18.
Lap 18, we're on lap 7 at the moment, and even in these conditions, the lap times are still very short, with it only being, it's officially 10 corners, but I always say it's 9, because turn 2 is not turn 2 at all. That's just a kink.
It's a kink in the track. It's not. Yes. I don't think it is either. Yeah, to see that they were qualifying 1 minute 04 to what they're doing now, 1:0:15. Is it 1:15? Is it now? The fastest lap.
Have a quick look at the quickest lap time actually.
Yeah, fastest lap tonight's 1:12.
1:12 from Mark down in 9th.
Yeah. And they were qualifying 1:04s.
So two more people in the pits, Angelo and Carol. So I wonder if that's potentially for damage or if they're in for new enters. Because obviously, tyre model in this year's game, once the tyres get beyond 25%, I believe, the tyres do fall off a cliff. metaphorically
They do,
speaking.
they do. Jack is actually having a front wing on. I didn't see what Cal was having on, but yeah, he's had a new front wing as Jack.
Yep,
No,
Jamie's been promoted back up to P10 again, obviously with him being in the pit stop, and Cal obviously himself will get himself back into the action as well. So with every neutralised, it's going to be up to Dan to decide what he wants to do on the restart. Does he want to take it slow, or does he want to immediately go for it and try and break away from Scott in second place? 'Cause in these conditions,
ooh,
you do not want to light up the rear tyres much more than in the dry, because it's a lot easier to do
no, we
it.
don't.
And I do remember, if off of last year's game, certain curbs around here, if you even so much as touched them, you would just spin out. Obviously, so there has
Yeah,
been some curb improvements this year in the game, but I believe there are still a few curbs that can do that if you're not careful.
yeah. Turn 5 is and turn 6 are quite notorious for that on the 22 game, and this time not as severe, but if you do catch it heavily, it will spin you.
Yep.
As Mark comes in the pits and Kirby.
No. Kirby's in the fence. It's just Kirby.
Yeah,
Mark isn't.
right,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
It's all good.
sorry. My eyes are
Yes.
deceiving me.
He had a very similar livery. His liveries are slightly different. It looks like they're running sort of. No, I was about to say he's in the car. That's the car behind. That's fishy. I'm looking at. Obviously, I haven't actually seen. That's a new driver to me, Fishies. I'm not actually sure of how he'll do, because obviously you've obviously said himself. You've said obviously he got pole position in the one-shot
Yeah,
qualifying, and this track is very much about DRS trains usually if you're in the dry, and I think even
yeah,
more than the wet. Because
yeah.
obviously no DRS in these conditions at the moment until this rain dissipates away and the DRS gets enabled, if and when this is decided. But what tyres do we reckon would go the furthest? Would it be the mediums, or do you reckon some people might try and risk the softs, potentially?
I'd be safe on mediums myself, to be honest with you, Sam. It's not a. I don't think it's a hard tyre track anyway. Like I say, the track does light up your tyres, and you know as well as myself,
Okay,
the
we'll see.
hards aren't the best when
Yes.
they're are they?
So,
Oh, another one's in the pits
Scott's in
there.
the pits. I thought the safety car was coming in there for a minute, and Dan was a bit too close to the safety car, but nope, it is still going around. So it will be coming probably this lap. So let's hope that Scott hasn't just proverbially screwed himself over there by that last-minute pit stop. He's on mediums.
He's on mediums, so he thinks it's drying out.
That's going to be an interesting one. If you keep an eye on him just for a little bit, and you can report back exactly what his grip is actually like, and if he's actually looks like he's going quicker, because it looks like the spray is entirely gone.
Yeah.
There's no spray coming off the safety car in front, and it doesn't look like there's actually anyone else that could potentially slap. I mean, everyone else is going to have to come out with the green flag running, which could mean. Let's just say this could be interesting.
Quick.
Obviously, everyone's going a little bit slower speed. It's going to be interesting to see how this actually goes when we get up to full racing speed and get going once again.
I'll keep me on him. For that purpose. But
there we go. Safety car in the slap. Yep. And Davison now officially becomes the safety car himself. He can then choose the pace of the cars behind. Obviously, we've got Dan, who we do know who is quick. Even I have seen how quick he is himself. I believe he won at Zandvoort a few weeks ago. So we know he has pace. I believe he was brought in quite recent as well. He's not been here for the entire season. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does, obviously from the commentator side of things, because obviously I've seen what he's like from a driver's point of view. So here we go. He's going late from the looks of it. Has he bolted? Yes, he has. It looks like Angelo's came into the pits under green flag running, so he's potentially coming in for a new set of tyres. Let's see, is anyone going with him? No, Vapid has. I think Vapid's been caught sleeping a little bit in that restart because he's about 6/10 back, and because Let's Go is looking to try and make his move with the ERS, which is the only thing they will have to hand. Obviously, the track this year was given a little bit of a rework in terms of the way some of the how the track actually looks. As it looks like we've got Fishy and Jerry behind, going side by side. Fishy manages to get himself up a position.
Yeah, Angelo's put the odds on, mate, and I'm quite impressed with
Scott's
Scott.
up to... Oh, he's going side by side with Kirby still. Let's see, this is the interesting thing. How does it compare? Kirby's that's almost a reminiscent move of Hamilton versus Albon there, if you remember.
It really was. Yeah, I think Scott might have pulled off a masterstroke here. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, obviously in this trim we have Jamie as well, right behind Jerry, also just a little bit further up. Let's see if you can, obviously Jamie having to recover back after that front wing losses. There's another car into the pits, that is Fishy, who's now into the pits, probably on to dries. You said lap 18, looks like it's coming a little bit quicker than that. I wonder how long...
Well, the rain stopped.
The mediums, however, I don't know if the mediums are going to last that long.
No.
Maybe
No,
past
I'm going to
distance,
stick me next.
perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps 18, 20 at a push.
We'll keep it down the inside. He's going to be in a very tight line for this next corner, and that's almost a Verstappen Leclerc move right there from Jamie.
Hey, you're bringing up some memories, mate.
Just stuff I can remember. Don't know why I have a memory.
Scott is pulling positions every corner. He's up to P7 now.
Looking at Scott, though, look how much more. I want to see it on board. How much more grip he's got coming out of this particular corner right here. Mark a little battling with his good run. Vapid, meanwhile, has dropped 2 seconds off the back of Dan, so not matching the pace at the moment. I think Scott's more grip here. Look at the difference.
Yeah, he is. Cracking.
Cars are going to be in the pits this lap. Indeed, there's a lot of people coming in. Dan has opted to stay out. DRS enabled.
DRS enabled. Yeah. Scott up to P3.
Dan and Kislev have stayed out actually.
So it's just 1 point. Well, he's cutting the gap. Every rotation of his wheels is bringing that gap down now, is Scott. So hats off to Scott for making that decision so early.
Mainly mediums going on in most cars, a few cars going on the hards. I mean, the hards on these conditions might take a little bit longer to heat up, but I believe the longevity of those tires means they will last longer.
They will last to the end, I'm pretty certain they will.
Now, we've also got Vapid on the back. I think Vapid has just come out of the back of Fishy. There's a nice little train going in here with Angelo, who's... Look at the gap between Angelo to Scott here. 15 seconds.
Yeah. I'm growing.
Looks like Fishy's going to be a little bit under pressure. Hang on, looks low. Scott,
yeah,
that's the move.
P2.
Yeah, not much that can be done there. I think Kislev tried to make a move there, but not really much was ever said there.
Yeah, Kislev goes in the pit, and Dan is with the Scott is P1.
Indeed, but the main worry for someone like Scott is how his tyres being older than those around them by about 3 laps. Which means that he's going to have more tyre wear, and I'm not sure those mediums will. I mean, they could go in, but there's going to be a little bit. Fishy with fast lap of the Grand Prix, Kirby with the first draw. That's actually... Austria's quite an easy track to get track limit warnings on, considering how unforgiving some of the corners really are in terms of how much you can take off of them.
Yeah, you're right. I've noticed on turn 1, sometimes you can cut the corner and it'll not penalise you. Other times it will. It's Scott had a little bit of a moment there.
Indeed, I'm looking at battle here between Carol and Jamie. I think Jamie passed Carol, and then Carol's got back past.
Yeah,
and then we've got Joe. We got a safety car.
Yellow. Yeah, that's.
Is that for I think Vapid and Fishy have come together.
Yeah, they did.
Yep, Vapid with the front wing.
Another safety car. Wow. Why? What?
So this now helps out.
Was that worthy of the safety car?
I have seen more things. I'll remember from last year's game. Certain tracks, even if you had like a 3 or a 4 car pile-up, there would not be an actual safety car. So I suppose, does it mean that you think the game's getting a little bit more too sensitive, or do you reckon it's maybe because the game thinks there's debris on the track? Obviously, I didn't really get to see it at the end.
Sensitive, personally. You set it a bit too sensitive. That, to me, that was
And now
just,
Scott's gone to the hards. Interesting.
that will see him to the end. That will see. He's done the
Yes.
hard work on the mediums, catching up.
And then he's gone on to the hard tyres.
Yeah.
Interesting to note and all that. Now, everyone from 5th down to about 9th is on the mediums, and then it is Kozlezko right at the back. Don't know what happened to Kozlezko. Something's happened to Kozlezko, because he was further up than that. Oh wait, he was the one with the last few on the inter, so wasn't he?
Yeah,
And
he was,
he's been
yes.
completely screwed over by his said safety car.
Yeah.
Dan
Definitely.
could, as I say, give Scott a run for his money here. I mean, Scott was going to be pulling away from the field, and it looks like now his advantage has been removed. And now Dan can have another straight go at the Northern Irishman in front. I believe both Northern Irish drivers, so it's a Northern Irish duel here for the restart. With an Italian right behind.
Yes. Bit of a mixed bag.
It's like, the way of describing it's like a mixed bag of Skittles sometimes, looking at the colours of some of the cars.
I bet you get the blackcurrants out first, don't you?
As I say, I don't mind most of the Skittles. There are certain ones I don't like, but Sour one's not really my favourite, but everything I don't mind most of the other ones.
It's Kirby pits.
Yeah, he was in the hards. Why is he pitting off the hards? He got damage.
I don't know.
My only reasoning.
I can't see any. I'm on board with him now. I can't see any damage.
I'm curious, has he decided to go on to the mediums now because of the fact of no?
He's gone on to the
Hards
mediums,
again.
Yeah. He's hards again.
Curious decision. We'll have to see how that one works out. As to quote a famous dodgeball quote. We'll see it. We'll see it works out from Cotton. I think it's something like that. I think I butchered that one. No, I know. I remember what the quote was. Now it's bold strategy, Cotton. We'll have to see if it pays off. That was the one I was thinking of. You know what I'm referring to.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Apologies to everyone because Andrew isn't feeling 100% tonight.
Indeed.
Got man flu.
Oh,
Safety cars in.
once again. Kirby will just catch up. Right, so we're about to go once again. So, Scott in charge of this one, and then Dan in second. So, Dan is not too far behind. Let's just see how it all goes. Now, Scott is opting for a very different approach of, if I can't have tire temp, no one is having tire temp. Let's just put it that way. But he really is. He's doing the complete opposite of what Dan was doing. He is backing the pack up.
He is.
The only thing is, once you go, you cannot. Once you make your move and go, you cannot immediately slow down again, because I believe that is against rules of safety car restarts. So
It is.
Scott,
Yeah.
we are watching to
You're
make sure you
right.
don't do anything untoward.
All eyes are on you, Scott.
So we're now just seeing when he's going to go in the final car. I think he's going to go.
He's gone.
Straight. No, he has gone. Yep, Dan's gone with him though.
Yeah, he's not caught Dan. Dan's going to take.
Oh,
the lead,
down
isn't
the
he?
inside. Remember, he can't make the move until he's gone after across the line because of some
Yeah.
stupid reasoning in this game. But I think he's got it done. However, we could see a switch back here from Scott as we see the immediate snaking effect taking effect once again.
Angelo coming in. He's going to make a move. Angelo. He's passed.
As he round the inside, I think he's got it. However, Scott's going to have the better drive on the outside. The outside gives you the better drive at the corner, and it looks like I think Fishy's close as well, just behind.
Yeah.
On
Just
his
didn't get a
older
very good
tyres.
exit, Fishy.
Mark is side
FS
by
Mark.
side. Yep, side by side. You've got to be careful with the damage here. Oh, a little bit of contact, but I believe no contact. Actually, no contact was made between the two drivers. It must have been close enough where I thought maybe there was some contact. Obviously, with simulation damage, that does make it interesting. You do have to be somewhat careful with your moves when you're side by side.
Certainly do. And there's not much between them at all, is there? It's quite close.
Indeed, now the DRS means that obviously I believe 3 DRS zones on this track, once it is enabled, means that if you're the car in front and you fall out of DRS range of the car in front of you, there is absolutely no chance you're getting away from that without using a whole lot of battery, which you're probably not going to get back.
No, it's you can't really harvest your battery much on this track. It's it maybe give you a couple of laps to get it fully loaded again, but I think Scott. Oh, Scott went round there sideways, but he's definitely closing the
Oh, we
gap on
have.
Dan.
There's because Lesko and Vapid have gone side by
Keep-
side. Because
Yeah,
Lesko managed to make the move stick, obviously not quite managed to see. You're going to see a lot of DRS assisted overtakes probably within these next few laps. Once racing really gets going and you get a good momentum going around the track like this, you are all good. It, however, looks like Angelo has already kind of fell out of range of
he's
the car in
he's
front
out of range.
from Scott.
Yeah,
This is the thing I was talking about. 1.5 seconds. As soon as you fall out of DRS range, you're in a little bit of trouble because obviously you're gonna have to burn a fair bit more of your battery to keep yourself ahead. And obviously with 3 DRS zones, I believe the DRS zone coming off of turn 1 up towards turn number 2. And
yeah.
then
I was
onto
just
the
on
straight
board with
after that.
Angelo, and he was using quite a bit of battery. He's down to 36%. Whereas
Mark
Scott
behind him on
and
71% behind. Here we go with the first DRS zone. This is the thing, you have to be quite tactical with when you make your moves. Do you let the car, I think it's best for Angelo to let Mark go here and then maybe try and get the DRS because they're individual zones I believe for these. However, they're side by side. With Mark getting the better drive coming at the corner, can Angelo come back at him? Only about 30% of his battery.
Scott's lining up a move on Dan, the side by side, but Dan's got his nose in front.
Yep, looks like Angelo has managed to get himself back in front, I think. Fishy's spun coming out of that corner. I think there must have been some contact in the back of the pack there for Fishy, or in the middle of mid-pack there. And he has been spun around. I suspect maybe has damage once, maybe could have damage again. We're not entirely sure on that one. However, Angelo does not have the pace of the cars in front, and he has got a massive train of cars behind him. He is an Italian train driver. Or an Italian train with an Italian train driver at the controls of it.
Yeah, Scott just didn't have enough power to get past down there on the coming up to turn 1. It's good racing these two.
Yep. See what's going on there. We'll go quickly onto that. It's Scott trying to go round the outside. Dan does hold it though. The Northern Irish duel carries on here in Spielberg. Something you never thought you would actually hear in anything. As it looks like Mark, meanwhile, as finally they've got side by side using the battery. DRS enabled with DRS being used as they go through. Yep, Carroll right behind there as well. Carroll had issues earlier on this race. That safety car has brought another one of the Northern Irish drivers into this as well, I believe. As he's going to try to go side by side with Angelo now. Obviously, I do know Carroll, very quick driver from other places I've seen. Obviously, I don't believe Angelo has any battery left. As here we go, Marcus picked up a penalty there off of one of those curbs. So you've got to be careful with those ones. That's the second penalty of the race. Picked up by Mark, as it looks like Angelo has now dropped down to P6. That lack of battery not really helping the Italian driver. The Brit managing to get past. Jamie, obviously we know, won after penalties considered last week in Monaco with Jerry and Kozlezko. Jerry and Kozlezko, I think Kozlezko almost got ran out of road there by Jerry. I wonder if he didn't have enough space quite there, as it looks like we've had I think that is Fishy has had an incident at the final corner and he's missed the pit lane, I think, so he's going to have to do an entire lap once again, which is not ideal for him.
No, Jamie's on the move. I think he's one of the fastest cars on track at the moment.
Here we go, Scott around the outside once again.
No,
he needs to try and switcheroo here. He needs to try and fool Dan Davis here into maybe trying to go defensive and then trying to make a move. You can make a move around the outside there if you can get a good flowing run around there. Nice camera shot here as we go through round here, as these two have pulled away massively. Is Mark now obviously on that, as we have another yellow at turn number 2, turn number 3.
That is Fishy.
Yeah, Fishy I believe doesn't have a front wing, or his tyres are overheated. One of the two. Is Jerry now picks up a penalty. The penalties are starting to amongst up now, and it's very much going to come down to that.
It must be Fishy's tyres, because he's fully laden with his wing and that. So yeah, he's all over everywhere, poor lad. Yeah, he's got no grip at all. He's spinning. Yep. Indeed impression.
Meanwhile, just a little bit further up from that, Vapid is trying to make a move on Kozlezko for P8 as we head up towards turn number 3. Even though I really want to, I keep saying it's turn number 2 because that's not a corner. As they're side by side still, Vapid up the inside, he's going to give him the good old fashioned Verstappen squeeze. Not something Vapid would appreciate me seeing, with him being a certain fan of another lot, but that is very much reminiscent of that. And we still have Jerry and Angelo in front. Angelo, I think, on 11 lap old hard tyres, is really struggling in comparison to everyone around him. and is not managing to find a way to make any moves really, as we've got another yellow again, as I believe Fishy is about to be lapped. So this is he's went from P5, P6 to almost being lapped, and I believe he's missed the pit lane again. So that's not ideal. He may as well be getting off those tyres and maybe getting a new set of tyres on that car. Scott's picked up a penalty.
Scott. Oh, that's not going to do any favours.
Oh, as I believe Jerry's coming into the pits. Something's happened. Is Jerry coming in? Yes, Jerry's coming into the pits. Oh, what's happened there? Oh yeah, that's Fishy getting out of the way of everyone now. But there's a bit of a gap now, obviously, knowing the fact that Dan and Scott have managed to get a gap at the front. Mark, obviously, those tyres will fade on his car. Jamie, we know the same. Jack Carroll, about 6/10 behind himself, looking to try and close in on, also on the medium compound tyres. And then Angelo behind. Maybe those ages of those tyres is going to be an issue, because Lesgo, I think, did make the move stick on Vapid, however, did not manage to make it. It ran a bit wide on the exit, and it allowed Vapid straight back through.
Yeah, Jerry's just put fresh mediums on. He had no wing issues, just straight tyre change for Jerry.
Oh no, that's in the middle of the track.
Who's that?
That was Fishy. He was in the middle of the track there. Everyone did manage to avoid him. Fair play to everyone for the good avoidance there, but Fishy was right in the middle of the track there. Obviously, no ghosting means you have to be careful of cars doing stuff like that.
Unfortunately, he's out now. It's DNF.
Yep, he has gone into the, I believe, yeah.
Baptism. Angelo picks up 3 seconds.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think penalties are going to be picked up left and right now. Obviously, track limits. I believe wherever Carroll's just turn 1 at the exit of turn 1, you can easily pick up a penalty, a warning there. I believe coming out, not this corner here. Where was it? So Scott is once again looking at the back. I think Scott made a bit of a mistake there, because he was two tenths back.
Very good exit. Yeah. Very good exit at all.
Another one of your well-known spots for easily picking up warnings is potentially on the exit of the outside there, and then I would also say coming up to this next corner on that outside curbing if you take too much of that right-hand curb.
Definitely, you're right there, mate. 2/3 of the race gone, and this battle for first is still heating up as Angelo.
Yeah, it looks like Angelo has managed to stabilise after losing a few positions. It might have just been the tyres not being a bit older and not having as much grip for the Italian driver. He is now managing to close back in on Vapid, and obviously these two, I would say, are very close on pace. It's going to be interesting to see how these two actually approach, how these two shape each other up for potentially trying to, one defending and one attacking, in terms of how this would actually go. It looks like Cal also being about 7/10 back from Kirby. I don't know if there will be any moves made there. So it looks like Kirby's struggling a little bit as well. He's fell back away from Kozlezko, and Cal looks like he's trying to get a bit closer to the very pink machine of Kirby just in front. I mean, you wouldn't miss that from a mile off, let's be honest.
No, you definitely see him if the lights are out, wouldn't you? But I'm just beginning to wonder about these mediums now. 12 laps. I don't think they'll go to the end. I've been proved wrong before. I don't think these mediums are going to go on.
Meanwhile, just coming back off that battle between Kirby and Cal, we have Carroll still on the back of Jamie. Jamie looks like he's struggling a little bit for pace now on those tyres in comparison to Mark in front, even though they're on the same age. The gap at the front is still about half a second, so Dan has not been able to really relax at all, as we were coming up on 8 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Obviously now you will start to see the times tumble down. 1:08 from Carroll there, I believe. Fast lap of the Grand Prix either belongs to either Dan or Scott at the moment, if I am correct on that one. Yes, it
fastest lap.
Fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's a 1:07.2 for Scott as the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. A few people now having picked up penalties. It looks like Cal and Kirby have gone side by side, as they're still side by side. Kirby trying to do the old switcheroo around the outside. Can he do anything here? As it looks like he's got the better run around the outside. Cal trying to defend the line, but Kirby does get back through.
Definitely good move, Kirby. Pingy, Jack Carroll is putting Jamie under a bit of pressure now. Like you say, I'm wondering if that grip's coming off.
They're all on the same age of tyres though. I wonder if it's the thing I'm thinking about here. Is it potentially a setup issue or a setup type thing?
Could be, yes. You might be right there, Sam. You might be right.
Indeed. Carroll, not much battery though. Carroll's only about 25% battery, and that battery's depleting once again. We'll have a look at Jamie in front and see what Jamie's got in terms of battery. He's on even less.
Yeah.
He's on about 10%. So he's as Fishy has now left the session. Obviously, he was already at the session. Only one retirement so far. 11 cars remaining in this Grand Prix. Lap 27 out of 36. Once this race really gets going, it's like one of those races where it just goes really quickly.
It does go quickly.
Of knowing just about the fact of it being a short track, and it's, as I said before, it's a nice flowing track.
Yeah, I just noticed Dan had a bit of a lag there.
Yeah, I think Scott might have had a bit of a moment as well, so I think he lost a little bit of time, like the back end of the car was trying to get a little bit loose, but he said no. As we meanwhile still have Kozlesko, who's keeping Angelo honest. Angelo is meanwhile also is keeping Vapid honest in front. Kozlesko with not a lot of battery remaining, trying to keep himself close. The main real play here is if you don't have penalties, it's really to kind of sit in behind drivers and let drivers pick up penalties and use the DRS to recharge a little bit of your DRS.
Definitely. Yeah, a little bit of pressure on somebody, a little mistake, like say track limits, is, you know, it does catch you out sometimes here. There are specific corners that it does catch you out, but yeah, that's what I do. Somebody had a penalty in front of me, I'd sit behind them, let them make mistakes. And
it's the methodical approach, if you want to put it that way.
Methodical. That's a good word for me. That is methodical. That sums me up.
Cal and Kirby again, once again going side by side. This time Kirby's got it done clean round the outside of Cal. No side by side action this time, and Kirby's back up to P9. And we'll go back to Scott. The battle for the lead at the moment, 2.5 tenths, or just under 2.5 tenths, is the gap between the two drivers, the two Northern Irishmen who are looking to try and get as close as possible.
Ooh, Scott went a bit wide, but have you seen the battery both of these have got? Both of them 80 plus, 90.
This is clever, by the way. I think they're both just using the DRS. I think Scott is just using the DRS and saving charge. Which is a wise idea, because obviously, I think the one thing though is Scott has a penalty, so really he should be getting a move on here, because Scott needs to get this done.
3 seconds in front. He needs to be 3 seconds in front.
And he's running out of laps here real quick.
Yeah, he is.
He will only fall to third. He will stay second though, because at the moment Mark also has a penalty and Jamie is not within range.
Again, he's trying again, Scott here.
Closest he got there, I think it was about 1.5 tenths at its lowest there. He wasn't quite close enough though, as these two remain close and remain locked together in battle. The duel continues between these two. It's like anything you can do, I can do better, really, between these two.
It is. That's how it's turning out. But yeah, he needs to make his move soon, Scott, if he wants to take the win.
Indeed, he has to get an overtake done, and then he has to get a gap of 3 seconds over Dan, or hope Dan picks up a penalty himself, and that's maybe what he's doing. He's just putting enough subtle pressure on there to maybe force Dan into a penalty, and then it's all game really from there, because I don't believe Jamie, however, I'm looking at Jamie, well, let's see how behind Jamie is behind the leaders. 8 seconds. 8.6 seconds for Jamie back to the leaders. So Jamie has to gain a little bit of ground in order to get himself within that range, potentially to go for a victory, if Dan does indeed get a penalty in front. You can just about see Mark in the background there of the battle there.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Down there. But Mark isn't quite close enough yet to really be
Jamie
about
is inside them 3 seconds that Mark penalty's got, so, you know, Jamie will be on the
and he's bringing Carroll with him. He's bringing Carroll and Vapid with him as well.
And Vapid, yeah.
So Mark's going to lose 2 positions, not 2 positions, he's going to fall from 3rd to about maybe 6th here. Because obviously Angelo has a penalty himself, maybe Kozlesko as well, if Kozlesko is within his range of being able to make a move as Jamie. The battery usage though, Jamie has absolutely nothing.
Nothing, no.
It's about 10%, and as I said, the battery, once it's gone, it just doesn't really come back, because there's not enough heavy braking zones to really save battery. Unless you choose to depend on a car using the DRS, but then you have to have DRS in the car in front in order to make that work. Vapid, meanwhile, is actually in a decent position here. Both of the front two are struggling on battery. Carroll going for the inside. However, I think Jamie was going for the switchback there, and Carroll just managed to shut the door, so as he couldn't actually do anything. As down the inside now goes Vapid, and that now demotes Jamie down to P6. Is he going to try and come back down the inside? Nope. No, nothing there for Jamie. And now Jamie's best idea, I think, is to actually just sit behind and maybe build up some battery again.
Yeah, Angelo's just taking Kislesko and Mark. Oh, that's going to make it interesting.
That's 6 seconds for Mark now. That's an issue. That's now going to drop him back behind Angelo and Kislesko.
Oh.
Those guys all seem very close. Carroll with a penalty.
Wow.
3 seconds penalty for him now. Vapid's in it. Now Vapid's in the position here where he can potentially get the actual podium spot off of Carroll now, or off of Mark rather, just up the road. As it looks like Dan, I've actually missed it. They've gone side by side. I think it was it was brief that Scott had the lead, and then he came back, and then Dan came back at him. Let's see if any move will be made here. Look at he's burning the battery now. He realizes with only about 5-6 laps to go in this Grand Prix, Dan defends the inside line. Can he get the line into the next corner, and can he potentially go around the outside if the space is left there? I don't think he's going to be close enough as of yet.
No, definitely not.
Meanwhile, I believe
Let's go again.
Yes, he has. I've noticed that, and Sus Jerry has managed to get past Cal. I think Cal's had a bit of an issue there, and Angelo and Kislesko both on absolutely nothing in terms of battery.
No, and these medium tyres are surprising me. 19 laps.
Yep, indeed. Now Jamie looking his battle. We'll come back to that in just a second. Looks like Scott, meanwhile, has got close once again to the back of Dan. However, he's not being close enough. Now the DRS once again, the battery being used. He will defend the inside. However, I wonder if it's a better idea to go around the outside. And I think Dan has been quite clever about this. He's actually stayed behind. And now he has the DRS, and now he has now Scott has to defend the inside, and Dan has to go and try and see if he can get himself back past. And it'll be interesting to see how this all goes down the outside. Oh, it's Hamilton and Albon once again for the second time I've seen that's been seen in this race, and it's back up the inside. I wonder if there was any damage, because there was a little bit of elbow barging there between the two of them, but Scott does keep hold of the lead.
I did notice a bit of a bang, but.
With simulation damage, I'm amazed there wasn't any contact. There wasn't any loss of wing or anything there. 4 laps left to go in this Grand Prix, with 3 after this.
Yeah, he just has to keep within that 3-second range, doesn't he, really, Dan, to get the win. But you always like to be first across that line, don't you?
Indeed. As now once again Dan is going to try. I wonder if he's going to be a bit smarter about this and not go for the move here, or I think he was looking at the outside there, and Scott said no, you are not having that line. Dan down the inside, he's going to have to cover that door, make sure that door is slammed firmly shut, and Scott has not had a good exit and is now back up to P1.
Yeah, got a better exit down there. It takes him into P1.
Back here, nope. Jamie, meanwhile, 1.4 seconds back from Vapid. Vapid is in the range, obviously, still. Carroll half a second back, obviously with that penalty himself. Not much battery for Carroll there to really use. Looks like Angelo is trying to make a move on Kislesko. Those two go side by side. A little bit of a twitch for the Italian driver as he tries to go round the outside and make that work, but no, Kislesko has that covered, and they are still the same as they were. As we have a yellow, Mark is out of the Grand Prix. I wonder if this is going to be a safety car. Oh, where is he? Oh dear.
Yeah, it's in a bad place.
Will not be actually. There won't be a I was going to say no safety car, because of the only. So once again, much like Panda at Monaco, looking at good points, and Mark has just been. I don't know what happened to Mark if he just lost the back end, but his race has just been completely.
Unfortunate that for Mark. Unfortunate, but I think he'll still get classified. He'll still pick up points, I'm sure.
He'll just be. I think he'll be disappointed by that, considering where he potentially finished. Maybe those penalties would have put him down a bit, but who knows. Penultimate lap of this Grand Prix, we have Dan, who has still got Scott all over the back of him, as it looks like Jerry and
Kirby,
Yep, Kirby. Jerry's managed to get himself past. Can Kirby, with his very little in the way of battery, managed to get anything done again. This looks like I think Jerry is not that much better.
Oh, Scott's run wide there. He's lost a bit of time to Dan.
At 7 tenths of a second now, the gap between the two of them, 8 tenths.
Growing.
I think Scott will finish second. He's not going to lose any time to Vapid. Vapid is a good amount behind him. After that happening, let's go and see. I think Angelos, meanwhile, is still looking at the back of Kozlezko. Obviously, we know Kozlezko will finish that. Will get the place due to the nature that Angelo has that penalty that he has to deal with. Unless Kozlezko gets one, and that makes that interesting. Scott, I wonder if that mistake has now cost him the chance at a victory here. I wonder maybe post-race would maybe decided that. He maybe wanted to try and get past, but Scott is going to probably finish in second place here with the fact that there's Kirby with the Etienne penalty, so that's going to mean that he's going to finish just ahead of Cal at this moment in time with 6 seconds. But meanwhile, at the front, while we're at the front of the field, it has been obviously the very little I've seen. Obviously, Dan, a very quick driver, has showed today his mettle and what he has to keeping his cool exactly when it is important to keep his cool and keeping battery back. He's coming around the final 2 corners, and it is going to be Dan to come across the line and finish the race and first place and win the race here in Spielberg in Austria. It is going to be Scott to finish in second across the line with a flourish in P2, with Vapid coming home in P3, and it's probably wasn't expecting to get a podium out of that due to the nature that and P4 for Jamie will be the best for him. Carol will get P5, because Let's Go will get P6, and they both managed to avoid the car there that's floundering, with Jerry finishing in 8th, and because I was get 6th, Angelo 7th, Jerry in 8th, Kirby will finish in P9, and your final finisher will be Cal, who will finish P10.
Just smashed his car up, Cal.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing, but that is your race rundown. Obviously, only the race because technical difficulties and stuff being awkward, but anyway, we move. Well done.
Yeah, nice one, Dan.
Good finish from himself.
Kept it all together.
Dave's actually English. Maybe he's English, I don't know. Maybe I just said he was Northern Irish. Sorry if I did. Just calling you Northern Irish in the entire session. You may be actually be English. Sorry.
That's why he's won. He's mad. He's mad with you. That's why he's won.
Sorry about that. Scott finishes in P2, and it is going to be Vapid to finish in P3. Okay, a little bit of a fortunate podium for Vapid in the end. During knowing to the end that Mark, with that unfortunate incident on lap 34 going on 35, meaning there was no real chance for anything to be saved. But
shame.
It is Dan, your race winner here with Scott in P2. Obviously, don't take into account the penalties, because obviously the 3 seconds it would have meant we would finish about 9 tenths behind. Vapid in P3 completes the podium. And then it is Jamie, Carol, Kozlezko, Angelo, Jerry, Kirby, and Cal who round out the finishers, with Mark and Fish the only non-finishers.
Yeah, interesting that. Very good. I think Scott will inherit the lead of the championships as well with that second P2 tonight. Jamie, unfortunately, P4. He picks up 12 points, but it's not the... Oh, they're all coming in now.
Yep, we've got our podium finishers.
Yeah.
Welcome. We're just waiting on one more person. I believe we're just waiting on Vapid.
Yes, Mr. Vapid,
Yes. Come on, Vapid. Nope, that's not. Well, we don't get him, then we're just going to do top 2. If he doesn't.
If I got $1 for every single time I've potentially lost the Papa Champs race due to a penalty,
Scott, can we not talk about this?
Limits.
Can we not talk about this?
Okay,
No.
I just want to interview you because you're trying to start a fight. I'm not even trying to say anything.
Okay, cool. Right, we'll just do that then. I'm just not dealing with it, sorry. Anyway, yep. Yes. Since we've only got first place here, we will just do our
Hello.
first place interviewer then. Welcome, Dan. Just make sure your audio is included so we can hear your
Yep,
wonderful tone
all
of voice.
included.
Thank you very much.
First question is for Dan. What nationality are you, Dan?
I'm British.
Oh,
Okay, so I was wrong in both.
in the commentary box.
Oh,
I was wrong in both.
I do have the English flag on. I think that's because I saw someone wearing the Scottish flag, so I thought it'd be funny to put the English flag on.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I was referring to use Northern Irish for the middle of that. Sorry about that.
Oh, the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
nice drive, Dan. Nice drive,
Yep.
mate.
Thank you.
So obviously yourself, you had to battle the entire race with Scott. What was your entire thing going into that, and what was your mindset while he was pretty much just sitting behind you?
Yeah, he sat behind me the entire race. So it was like I couldn't really, like I couldn't make a mistake. He was always within a second of me. In the inter stint, I managed to get a little bit of a gap, and then the safety car came out. During the entire dry stint, he messed up the safety car restart, so I didn't mind that. Just took the position nicely. He then got the penalty, and then I was thinking, well, I'm not going to push my ERS then, so I saved up pretty much the entire race. I had 90 between 80 90% ERS, because I knew he was just going to try and sit behind me or go for and try do a move on the last lap. But I think he got past me once during the dry stint.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And then you immediately
Yeah.
managed to repass him again.
Yeah, so I would say I think I had it pretty controlled. Like it was still a good fight, but I felt like I was able to just control my pace.
You had the cards in your hand. You had the pack in your hand, didn't you? You had control, like you say. You were
Had all the aces up your sleeve, really.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get. Sam, thank you. Aces up your sleeve. That's the one. But yeah, I thought you did a strategy-wise and race pace. I thought you did well tonight, Dan. I really do. I know the game gave Angelo the day, but I'd like to give it. I'd like to give it to you, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Driver off today. Congratulations and enjoy your victory. I don't know where we are next week. I believe. So if you know anything about that, Mike, because I have no idea. I don't know.
Give me a minute.
I don't have any of that.
Give me a minute. I'll find out this day. I usually have it written down, but I've not wrote it down tonight for some reason. I don't know.
Always have to have something handy next to you, mate.
Yes, I have. I've got my empty cup of tea. That's fine. Yeah, next
Only
week
the priorities.
We are at. There we go. We are at Hungary.
We will discuss.
Yeah, Hungary next week.
Hungary, yes.
Yeah.
So the Hungaroring, much more different track to the Spielberg circuit here in Austria, but that should be interesting because there's not as many places to overtake and a lot more places you have to follow. We'll have to see how the drivers take that when it comes to it. But from just the race, obviously, unfortunately, because of tech difficulties, it has been me and Mike and Dan, who obviously did the commentary interviews. So from everyone here at Papa Champs this week, congratulations to Dan, congratulations to Scott, and congratulations to Vapid. Obviously those two were not in the commentary box this week. So we will see you next time out for the Hungaroring in Budapest.
Well done, Dan, and thank you, Sam.
Yep,
thank you for the commentary, guys.
You're welcome. And we'll be back to you, hopefully back to regular service next week with Mike alongside Goose next week. So,
Sick note.
Yeah. So
he's never been right since he had his haircut, has he? He's not been right.
Yeah, probably we should end this before we go down a rabbit hole. Yeah, we should leave this stuff for off stream. Anyway,
yeah,
we will end this now, and we will see you next week.
Next week. Bye.